Hello and welcome to our May showcase for Soupink. This evening we have a new artist that not many people will have heard of in the north. We have Kitchen, also known as Jack Rudden, who is from Dublin. So we're going all island tonight, and here is Jack beside me, not
Hi, how's it
person, not
going?
and just to run through a bit of housekeeping before we play the music. First things first is just to remind everyone watching that this is a donations based project. So if you would like to pay Jack for his music, you can. Please do so in the coffee link that will be on screen. And yeah, that's the main thing. Just make sure that if you're watching, remember we do like to pay artists. All of our money raised does go towards the artist performing, so we don't take a cut. So if you like what you hear, share some financial love is what. And before we kind of go into the music, we're just gonna have a little chat. So first things first. Jack is currently in the process of moving house. So, how did
Yeah.
you find putting together this kind of showcase of your music for us?
Okay, it's gone through a few different iterations, I suppose. Not only was I moving house, I was moving country. I was coming back from Germany, where I've been living for the last few months, and I had very limited resources over there. I guess I only had like a small kind of children's Yamaha keyboard, which I actually do use on a lot of the record actual like recordings of my songs, but I hadn't figured out a way to perform them solely on the only instrument I had in Germany with me, and I wasn't about to shell out for a guitar or anything like that. I was just like, I'm gonna work with what I have, and that's gonna be fine. And I was living with my partner, who was a photographer and at times a videographer, and she was going to record it, and it was going to be beautiful, amazing. And it was going to be in our kitchen, like very much keeping with it. Um, and then one thing led to another, and we ended up uh, getting an earlier flight, which was fine. I was like, it's okay. I could just record this while I'm quarantining with my family, and that'll be a-okay. And like the big stupid baby that I am, I left my keyboard and my audio interface and the only microphone that I had been using for the last few months in a suitcase that has now gone to my partner's family's home, where she is quarantining with a lot of my belongings. One thing led to another. I asked my sister for a lend of a guitar. I asked my brother for a lend of a microphone. Could not get my hands on a camera. And you know what they say, necessity breeds invention. In this case, uh, I guess in a backwards kind of way, lack of camera bred some very bogey visuals that I threw together in an afternoon, just by kind of processing the covers of my both my EPs through like a video editor. And I just recorded the whole set in like a more or less one take, just on acoustic guitar, which is how I wrote the songs to begin with. But I hadn't performed them that way in a really long time, so it was strange. It was like a refresher course in I guess bodging together stuff, and also a refresher course in my own music. So yeah, it was it was interesting. It was interesting.
I think in knowing that and then being able to watch it in the next few minutes, we'll be able to kind of see how you really have to utilize your creativity in the best
Yeah.
way. And this will be a little moment that you were like, well, I didn't have any of my stuff and I'm still able to make something. That's pretty cool. Um
Yeah, there's a story in there, I guess, if anything. But apologies for the quality of the recording. I do wish it was better, but please, I am making do with what I
no,
have.
we are a year into this hellhole of trying to scrape together music and gigs. So I think the fact that you managed to do it, I'm like, that's a test of strength more than anything. Um, but let us first, before we even go into music, look and chat about your kind of musical history, your musical background, and kind of what drew you to becoming a musician.
um, in some ways, it was a bit of an accident. In other ways, it was well, no, we'll go mainly accident actually. I was kind of interested in music as a kid. I was never like very sporty or anything like that. Didn't really do many like boyish things. But I was always kind of listening to like music. If it was in like my dad's car, I'd always want uh like very specific CDs on, and I'd throw a fucking tantrum if I didn't get it. Because I'm that type of person, or I was. But I guess when I was about 11 years old, I got an acoustic guitar, and that was kind of my first foray into playing and performing music. I didn't take it like very seriously, and wouldn't like I kind of went to lessons for maybe a few months, and I wouldn't practice any of the stuff that the teachers would give me, and so uh, I stopped going to lessons because what was the point? And then probably a year after that, I was in I suppose sixth class, and for whatever reason, I was just like, I'm just gonna like teach myself guitar. I just feel like I don't like care much about myself. I just wanna play some music, and so I did. I taught myself guitar, and I kind of learned piano through a friend of mine's sister. She's like a trained pianist. I'm not a very good piano player to this day because again, I was like I think I just have an issue with things being in like lesson format. I guess like I can't latch onto it sometimes. But I learned somehow, and from there I decided actually no, I don't like piano. I don't like guitar. I want to play bass, and so for my 13th birthday, I got a bass, and lo and behold, I met a group of guys in secondary school who were like trying to form a band, and they were like, "Oh, you're the only person that we have ever met that plays bass." So it was kind of like no audition needed. I'm in, cool. I'm in a band of like 13, 14, having a great time. And that band went on to become Search Party Animal, which is like the band I was in for like all my teenage years. And like I still hang out with those guys, but we kind of do our own bits these days. And we still like talk about music all the time. And then I suppose, I don't know, it was kind of just a big accident. I just kind of fell in with these guys who wanted to form a band, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. But in recent years, like I ended up studying music production in
Mhm.
college. Loved parts of it, hated a lot of it as well. Again, lessons. And so at one point in I think my final year of college, I kind of was having a terrible time with exam season and stressing about studying and preparing for like practical examinations, and had a bit of a moment where I was like, oh fuck this, I hate producing music well. I'm gonna just like record a few songs like as like in a really poor shoddy kind of a hatched together sort of way, just using like a portable recording device. And thus came Kitchen. That's pretty much what Kitchen is. It's me just like being sick of recording things really well, recording them really badly instead. Uh, so that's a long-winded way of saying it was an accident, and I've just kind of kept it up.
How do you find doing like solo music stuff versus like having coming from like a background of playing in a group and playing like whenever you're in a band you're playing off each other like even whenever you are just like in your teams doing it you're still bouncing off. How do you find that versus creating your own thing by yourself?
Yeah, I think it's weird. I kind of my whole feelings towards it kind of ebb and flow. And like there, I think recently because of COVID and everything, I'm fucking itching to play music with someone who isn't like me. I am fortunate in having some very musical siblings as well, and like so being here, I'm kind of recording songs with my younger brother. It was like we're kind of into similar enough stuff, but yeah, we have different ideas about certain things. But I think coming into college, like in the last few years, I realized I kind of have a certain idea of how I want music to sound. That sounds kind of weird, but I love playing in groups. I love like bouncing ideas off people, and I miss that terribly at the moment, like so much. But I think I don't know if I'd say I prefer playing stuff alone. I definitely don't prefer like performing alone. Like I hate being like the only person in front of a crowd because I'm like, I've got no like moral support up here, and it goes a bit funny. God, I don't know. I feel like I'm really mincing my words here, like kind of going in circles. It's a complicated thing, and that I think I prefer recording alone, but I really love performing with people. Like if I could record music by myself for days on end and like fucking barely have any contact with the outside world in a which probably isn't the best for the mental
Very
health.
Grimes of you.
Yeah. We'll go with that, make it chic. But, yeah, I think maybe it boils down to that, and to a certain extent, it's like if I'm recording something, I have a like really specific need for things to be a certain way, even if that way is it needs to sound like utter shit, and it needs to be recorded in like a very like hacked together lo-fi kind of way. Whereas I feel like not a lot of people would be into that. At least I've not, especially coming from a music production degree. Like all my friends are big fucking like audiophiles that like are all like mad about like having like certain preamps, certain microphones, certain fucking sets of headphones, certain rooms. I'm just like, I don't know, I'll go into my bathroom with like a portable like Zoom recorder, and I'll just like layer as many fucking things on top as possible. But yeah, I think that's something I've only realized about myself recently, is that I would rather perform with people. But if I'm like doing like an EP, or if I'm recording a song, I kind of need to not talk to anyone, because I kind of get tunnel vision, and if anyone else is in the room, I probably look fucking psychotic.
Hello, everyone. My name's Jack Rudden, and I perform under the name Kitchen. And you're listening to Soup Inc. Thanks. This first song is called Shitty Sugar. When I go out at night, I don't return for fear of many things. Confrontations, scrutinizations. But when it's cold, I stay with you. I try to feel safe. Does some good, warms my blood. But I'm not sleeping. When you smile, it strikes a chord I didn't think could exist. Keeps me sane, keeps me sane. I'm still so scared, but I don't wanna show I'm weak. Even though I know you don't think that weakness should hide inside us all. Let me show you many things. Show you many things. So this next song is called Streepin', and it's based on a long list of conversations a friend and I had and continue to have about the possibility of Mamma Mia being a time travel story. So I'll dedicate this one to Meryl Streep. A special word burrowed in my line. Sight and mind, I love that spectral guy. Across the streams, and you play me as Meryl Streep, but just saw hide. He was not here, he's there inside. I could find a home somewhere soon. You could float along, buried in the blue. Hobby biotanks crawl along the floor. Dead celebrities, bloody red murder. I am the algae of the ocean waves. I eat the thoughts of fish from Jackson Bay. But now I sit on lino floors with all my foes thrown outside my head. All my sex on thoughts writhing like a fish clubbed up on the rocks. Scoop up all my brains, push 'em back inside. Funnel in my ear, Meryl, turn back time. Da 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 apologies if you can hear noise in the background, but we are doing this live after all, so I suppose that's to be expected. This next song is the title track of my second EP, Apachronesis, which is a completely made up word. I often get asked what it means. I think the definition's on the cover of my second EP, so I can't think of it offhand. It's basically the feeling of having an absolute meltdown. So yeah, I'm just gonna go straight into this one. This is Apachronesis. Solitude is shit. Pull it all together, drag it all through grit. Changing all the time. Never make the grade and never straighten up enough to kick the bucket. Wishing for an end. Anything to make a universe dissolve. Try focus, insane. On the lightning that electrifies a mind. Drops of cloth, endless shimmering night. Made up words and auto deconstruct. Apachronesis fills the veins of anything that could exist. Running out of time. Smoke inflatable lungs, tear apart a family above the limit. Cry, embrace the pain of the insects that digestify a mind. Shoulder to the wheel. Try intensely not to splatter on the curb. Found the grave, identify me now. Hair and flesh and teeth between the dirt. Okay, so this next song is going to be a cover by the band Ween, a band that I love very, very dearly. This song is called What Diener Was Talking About, and it's all about friendship, so that's nice. The wash is out, it's hanging up, and all I have is nothing. Nothing to do, nothing to say. I think I must be dreaming. The sun comes up and I'm all washed out. Is this what Diener was talking about? I don't think I will ever return again, my friend. If I was king, I'd wear a ring and never hurt my people. I'd stay alert, I'd dress to kill I might even slip you something. The sun comes up and I'm all washed out. Is this what Diener was talking about? I don't think I will ever return again, my friend. The sun comes up and I'm all washed out. Is this what Diener was talking about? I don't think I will ever return again, my friend. I do not think I will ever return again, my friend. I do not think I will ever return again, my friend. So, that was What Diener Was Talking About by Ween. A wonderful song about friendship, like I said. If you've listened this far, thank you so much, and also give yourself a pat on the back because I suck and I'm unbearable, and you've done very well to get this far. Thank you so much again to Soup Inc. for having me in the first place. It's really nice to be performing these songs. I've actually never done them live before, and I'm sure it shows. These next two songs, these last two songs, I think they'll be the last two, come from my first EP, which is called Eugene Dreams. A little bit of backstory: it's based on a series of terrible nightmares and a few bouts of insomnia that I had while studying for exams, while living on the beautiful Eugene Street, hence the name of the EP. And these are the first two tracks from that EP, and the first one's called Ghost Bod, the second one is called Sink. I would like to dedicate Ghost Bod to my lovely younger brother Matthew. What a guy. The song is very much about a terrible premonition I had about him. And the second song, Sink, I will dedicate to my wonderful partner Zoe, who can sleep way better than I ever can. This is Ghost Bod. If it ever were that simple, I'd have joined you there by now. But I got in the way. I'm still waiting on the courage, so I can lie down next to you and join you far away. All my friends know that I'm failing in both worlds, and nothing is worth saving. Nothing is worth saving. Nothing is worth saving anymore. I'm still waiting for that feeling, so I can sink right through the floor and face myself bravely. If it ever were that simple, I'd have joined you there by now. But I got in the way. Thank you so much for listening to my set. I've been Jack, otherwise known as Kitchen, and have a wonderful evening.
Do we go like backwards chronologically? So should we look at your Apocryphosis came out in November
I
2020?
think, yeah, like end of October,
End
start
of
of
October.
November. Yeah.
And because I got to review that for Golden Plaque, which was really fun. That was my audition piece for writing for Golden Plaque. Um,
Nice.
and whenever I was doing the research into it and everything, I just like that you were like, this is a collage of ideas. And Meryl Streep is there. There's also a fish and some time travel.
Yeah, it's oh god, yeah. That EP is a whole mess of things, I guess. Like there's a lot going on there that even I kind of looking back on it really struggle to unpack, I guess. But God, like even like the first, like God, just thinking about it now, some of the songs on that are, well, two of the songs that are older than the rest. Like the first track, Shitty Sugar, was originally a demo that I like recorded in my brother's bedroom like 2, maybe 3 years ago at this stage. I was in like my second year of college. And I just threw it up on SoundCloud under the name Shitty Sugar, which is why it's called that. I just like kind of forgot about it for ages. And then at the start of 2020, so literally like probably only like a month after I released my first EP, I kind of came across it again. I was like, oh, I actually like quite like that song. And I'd been working on like two other songs, which ended up becoming Streepin' and Apocryphosis. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna put that at the start of an EP because I really like that, and it kind of encapsulates a certain feeling that I'm exploring with these other tracks that I'm writing. God, yeah. Like to anyone that has read the blurb about that EP on my Bandcamp page, or anyone that goes to read it, I'm so sorry that it's so hectic. It's like I literally read over it the other day. I was like, what the fuck was I like thinking? But there is like a weird kind of story arc to the whole thing, and it kind of like all the tracks are kind of about different people and like friends of mine and my younger brother comes up in a lot. He comes up in a lot of my music for some reason. I had someone point that out to me, not recently, but probably just after my first EP came out. My friend Dan, I was from Search Party Animal, hadn't seen him in months, and he was like, "You're always writing about people like getting hit by cars." I was like, "Am I?" It's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh yeah." Like, look, I'll go into that when I'm talking about fucking the first EP. This is what I mean. I think part of the reason why it's such a scatterbrained EP with so many like different ideas just kind of collage together is because I talk like this and I think like this. I kind of think quite tangentially. I have a big tendency to go onto tangents, so apologies. But how about, okay, opening track, Shitty Sugar, about a very specific part of my college life where I was working a job I fucking hated, and I just remember being the dead of winter, and I'd like spend a lot of days like or evenings going over to my girlfriend's house after leaving this horrible job and just being like, I don't want to go back in the morning, please don't make me go, and like really struggling to get to sleep just because I was so wound up about not going back to this horrible job in the morning. The second track, Streepin', is very much an homage to two people. My friend Butch, who is actually my girlfriend's younger brother, one of my best friends, and Meryl Streep, because he and I are very infatuated with the Mamma Mia series. Like, we're die-hard fucking fans of Mamma Mia. Like, he's a big cinephile, and that's kind of how we ended up talking, besides me being his sister's partner and all this. But so we just had these really long, drawn out like conversations about like what is going on with the Mamma Mia films, really? You know, is it just a schlocky musical, or is it like fucking
a work of genius?
Like, I think like an auteur piece is actually like the a real way of looking at it. Like, we've got all these really like harebrained theories about it being like a time travel story, and about like Meryl Streep's character and Amanda Seyfried's character being the same person, and like it's like there's so much to go into it that I won't even dip my toe in because it's fucking ridiculous. But and as well, just after writing that song, I was like, I think I'm just going to include a load of movie references throughout this EP as well. It's like, even if it's like doesn't make any sense. So there's a lot of that. There's a Ghostbusters reference in Streepin' as well. So I don't know why. I'm not like a huge Ghostbusters fan, but it's like, hey. Third track, The Fish Returns. That's a Studio Ghibli reference. There's a film called The Cat Returns that I really love. But I'd already kind of established this character of a fish in Streep, and I was like, fish is coming back. I'm singing about the fish again. And the fish is confronting a frog and talking nonsense about gender identity. And so, yeah, that's that song, I guess, is kind of was very Ween inspired, and I owe my friend Robin for getting me really into Ween. So that song's kind of like for her, I guess. God, I'm an idiot. Like this, like so, like I'll like if anyone goes digging for deeper meanings in any of this, you might find something, but I'm not saying it's right. What comes after that? Apocryphasis. That's it. Title track. My God, yeah, that started off as a song I was writing in January 2020 before COVID came up and ruined everyone's life. And I was kind of feeling a little like I was in a bit of a pit of despair. I was like, oh my God, the like world feels like it's on fucking fire at the moment, and like I don't know how to fucking process that. And I was in the midst of writing my final thesis for college, which was all about environmentalism and the music industry's like relationship with that, and how it's like not great. And I was like, just reading all these horrible articles about like, well, very insightful articles, but about the world basically being fucked. But the lyrics didn't come for months after, not until probably July of that year. And originally they were completely different. Like there's a whole different set of lyrics for that song that I just binned. And God, who's that song for? That is for someone, and I've forgotten, which is bad. Oh, it's from my brother. That's the one. Yeah, sorry. Very much dedicated to him as well. And as is the final song. What a greedy bastard getting all the songs dedicated to him. Yeah, last song is basically just like a nightmarish noise rock thing that I was like, it's just kind of a head melter, and that's kind of how I felt writing it. God, I'm so sorry that I have all these convoluted fucking explanations for my stupid songs.
It's so interesting because you're like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. But like listening to it, it's a concise EP. Like listening to it like orally through your, like that's something that you're like, oh, well, it makes sense in the sort of sonic journey of it.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't feel like complete, like it doesn't feel out of place with itself, which is, because you're putting so much into it. It's actually very impressive that you've managed to make it so like neatly kind of packaged in all its sort of randomness.
Yeah,
Um,
I did try to keep like I mentioned like there's kind of a sort of an arc to it, in that like the first song is obviously about like struggling to fucking get to sleep, and I thought like, okay, the lyrics to that song are quite like straightforward, just like that's kind of, it's a love song, but it's also like I wish I could just go to bed song. And then the three middle tracks just are filled with just like made up words that I just came up with. I was like, okay, well that's kind of like going through a like nonsensical kind of dream, and then the final track is like a horrible wake up call, I guess. And that was kind of my thinking of it. I was like, I gotta make this like fit together somehow, so it needs to have like an arc.
and
Yeah. I'm
it's a
glad
win-win.
some people think so.
And then just to kind of touch briefly on Eugene Dreams, which came out in 2019.
Yeah,
So,
end of 2019.
so that was your first kind of release as Kitchen. How did you find the difference between working on that one and working on Apocryphosis? And did you notice like your sound changed or developed in any particular ways between those two EPs?
Yeah, I guess like everything in my life, Eugene Dreams was a bit of an accident that I wasn't even really going to release, and kind of just did on a whim. But again, who knew? It's also about like dreams and like nightmares mainly, and not being able to get to sleep. It's just a constant in my life that I'm constantly writing about,
Mm.
whether that's in music or just like in journals and stuff. But that was really like, I think I recorded it over like less than a week or something. I think like even like wrote and recorded it in the space of 2 weeks. I was just kind of like, it was mainly just kind of like a way of venting some frustrations with where I was at with like my education and like my professional life, and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm just gonna write these 3 songs, and really lean into that whole kind of thing of like, I guess like reading too much into dreams, which I do, like I definitely do. And so a lot of the lyrics I kind of wrote on the way like to work, because I was working at a coffee shop at the time, and so I'd be up at like 5 in the morning and like walking into like the center of Dublin, just like dreary eyed, and I just wrote like stuff, like basically just like sentences into my like notes app on my phone. I was like, if any of it's in any way congruent, it's a lyric. And so like a lot, like that's why I do write a lot of my lyrics like that. Like kind of try to do it when I was tired as possible without actually like being illegible, I guess. And so, yeah, it kind of just came together by accident. I was like, I'm just gonna get it done, record it in my kitchen. Hence, I was like, that's gonna be the artist name if I ever release this. And then I'd say maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month after recording it, I was just like, fuck it. I feel like releasing music, and I have like a 3-track EP that I could just like put up, and maybe no one will listen to it, and that'll be fine. And I was just like, yeah, like it was the day that it came out, or like the night that it came out, like when it ticked over to midnight, I was at like a staff party as well for work, and I was like talking to this guy. I was like, oh yeah, like I have an EP out, and he's like, oh, when? I was like now. Like it's just kind of dropped there 2 minutes ago. And he was like, oh, cool. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna like really try to promote it or anything, but like whatever. And he's like, cool, I'll give it a listen. And somehow, or for some reason, people did listen to it, and I was like, okay, well, I liked writing those songs, and like I think it's a sound that I'm willing to explore more. And so come January, I started kind of writing Apochronisis in earnest, and it was definitely different, because now I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to put an EP together, and it's going to sound slightly different. I'm going to use like different instruments, and thematically it's going to be similar, but I think lyrically it needs to be more wild. And so I kind of did go about just like trying to make up as many words as I could, and those are like the words that I kind of pared it down to I think it was like 14 made up words that kind of show up time and time again on that EP. So I think that's probably the main difference, is like Apochronisis, I was like, I'm writing this with the intent purpose of I'm gonna put this out at some point this year. But Eugene Dreams was like a freak accident that just kind of came about because I was stressed.
Such is the life of an artist.
It's a lot.
Um,
It's a lot out here.